So for the COPD study, if anybody's interested, I'll hand out my cards to everybody. It's simply going to be, if you're already on Advair, Dulera, or Symbicort, one of those type of medicines, it's simply doing an add-on therapy. All that medicine will be covered. The add-on therapy is going to be an injection to see if by but by dealing with the eosinophils, the allergens will help with the breathing. So are you guys, you're not participating in that one? Are you doing the injection one or no? Oh, you are? Okay.
So what happens when you're going to try a different inhaler?
You can try a different one.
And the doctor already prescribed X, and you're going to try a Y. Do you get in touch with their physician?
Yeah, we send them a letter, and sometimes we send them the consent if the patient's okay with it, which explains in detail to the physician what's going on. And some patients tell me they don't want their physician to know anything, so those my hands are kind of tied with, but I think it's a good idea if your physician knows what you're participating in.
Right.
I mean, they need to know. I don't know why they don't want me to tell them sometimes, but it's all about the patient. So if they say you can't tell anybody, I can't say anything. So.
With the children and eczema, what is the youngest?
So we did 2 to 17 years old. The medicine will probably be approved next year. It's done enrolling now. It's actually a non-steroid cream, so it doesn't thin the skin out. It's boron based. And it just takes away the itching. It's a really thick ointment. So that was 2 to 17 years old. And drawing those blood on those 2-year-olds, they were not happy with us at all. Every time I walked in the room, they were just like, it's you again. So, poor little babies. But it was 2 to 17, so that should be approved. It's Anacor is the pharmaceutical company. Yeah. Anything else, Russell?
Do we have any more questions?
Do y'all have any more questions for
This
me?
is a big deal, yeah.
You have the hard questions.
Do you send them to the eye doctor to get their eyes checked?
Some studies, if they think the medicine can cause eye pressure issues, then we will.
I took one,
Oh, you
went
did?
to the eye doctor, and my pressure went up twice.
What inhaler was it? Do you mind me
It's
asking?
been a couple of years ago. I got off of it.
Do you remember what the inhaler, was it in a study or you just got a regular medicine?
I got a regular
Oh, okay.
medicine. And I might remember it and let you.
Yeah, I know Spiriva isn't really that, well, Spiriva's a good medicine, I shouldn't say it's not, but it's a good medicine, but patients retain water with that and sometimes causes urinary issues. I've been lucky to where none of my patients have had that, but I do know that happens.
I've had cataract surgery on both eyes.
Oh my goodness.
Now I'm sitting here and it feels like my eyes are completely full of water,
Wow.
but they're not. It's dry.
And are you on Advair or Symbicort,
I'm on
inhaler wise?
Spiriva.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on, excuse me, Brovana and Bunesinine.
Okay.
Nebulizer.
Right.
And I did that a few months ago because of congestion. Before that, I was on Semaphore. So I'm just wondering if it could be one of those.
We can look and see. I did the initial Symbicort studies when I was at VCU with Dr. Ronnie and Dr. Swartz in adolescents and adults. So it was exciting when it got
And I
approved.
understand that I can stop the nebulized Brovana and Bunesinine and go back to Semaphore.
Right, it would take the place of it.
And it's not gonna be a problem.
Right,
Just
it
the
would
bottle
just take the
that I
place
use.
of it. Right, some people do better on a nebulizer, and that's why we're trying to get away from the aerosols, which is what the Symbicort is and the albuterol is. We are doing a study right now in children, what just finished, so we'll see what happens with the results, where it's going to be a dry powdered albuterol instead of an aerosol, because a lot of
So
patients.
isn't it powder? The Semaphore is a powder, right? No.
Right now it's an aerosol.
Aerosol.
Right. So hopefully they'll do a study on that. QVAR, we are doing a study on where it's going to be dry powder instead of aerosol. So they're noticing that patients, when they use the aerosol one, unless they have a spacer, they don't really get it in their lungs properly. But when they do the dry powder, it's simply, like sucking it out. So it's forcing, especially in children, it's forcing them to suck it in.
And to me, the spacer looks like it's taking up all this space.
I know, but-
There's a lot in there.
My patients, I make them all use spacers before I do breathing tests, because I'm not going to I feel like they don't get it in their lungs properly unless I make them use a spacer.
What about the space that's between, where you
It holds it in that chamber until you suck it out.
Okay, to me, it's just.
I know it's
wasted
silly, but
space.
it works. When I do the breathing test, your lung function looks so much better when I've made
Oh,
you
really?
use the spacer. So I didn't think it was that big of a deal either until I started
So it would
comparing
be
it.
better to do, it would be just as well to use the spacer with the Semacord as it would be using the Bovana and the budesonide with.
It depends on how you respond to it. So every patient's different. Some
Well, I
people like
have one backup,
Semacord.
too.
Okay, you can try it and see what works best for you. I would, whatever works best for you. I know with kids, if they have a spacer, they're fine. If not, then I make them do the nub. I'm not, that other stuff of not using the spacer is just not really worth the parents' time, I don't think, because those poor kids can't get it in their lungs. I mean, I have a 5-year-old today. We were trying to get to do a breathing test, and have all of you guys done breathing tests yet? Where you have to blow as hard and as long as you can?
Oh, yes.
This little girl's like, the whole time. I'm like, don't do that. Just blow out the candles one breath. But it's exciting. Those little kids, they are so funny. So funny. Yes, sir.
Well, it's funny, you mentioned cataract surgery. I had cataract surgery last May, and I have similar problems that you currently have. All I'm doing is add
It's
air.
miserable.
Right, add air.
And what are you doing for it?
I've been back to my eye doctor several times,
I've been to several different ones.
and it doesn't seem to be an answer to it.
Well, I'm on Restasis right now, and the last dry eye doctor I went to, he said, well, I'm not really sure that you need to be on that.
Well, they've given me drops to put in my eye.
Pardon?
They've given me eye drops to put in, but it doesn't do that much.
Well, even at that, they said, well, not every eye drop works for the same for each person, so try different ones. So I'm standing here at the eye drop counter, you know, giving me one of each,
Should ask for samples of them all.
I guess.
Getting back to what she was.
Yes, sir.
Her original question was, could some of her medicines be affecting her eyes?
So just because we don't capture it in clinical trials doesn't mean it couldn't be a side effect. So it could be a side effect that we didn't capture in studies because none of the patients had that side effect. So there's a chance that Benadryl could cause it. Everybody's different. Nobody knows exactly what. I know, no, it's so true though. That's why we try to get as many type of patients as we can because we have no idea how my medicine's gonna affect me and your medicine's gonna affect you. It's just, and that's where your primary doctor, whoever you see, you need to say, I'm tired of this happening. We need to get to the bottom of it and figure it out. You have to push them sometimes.
I push.
Oh, good.
I think every person I've ever heard of that had cataract surgery.
Just keeps
everybody
having it.
Has different problems.
Yeah.
Some have none, some have, like her.
I'm sorry you even have to
Your
go through
aerosol
that.
treatments, overall, aerosol treatments, all have a cause for, eye problems. It says it right on the side of all the medicine.
So does
If you're
Spirulia.
using your inhaler,
You think Spiriva would be
Yeah,
the main
that's one
culprit?
side.
Because the halo around the lights, it's all of them have that.
right?
But just because your medicine, one of them you might be on, which those probably could be it, but if you're on a medicine and you think that could be causing it, just because it wasn't listed on that index, when you pick up your medicine, doesn't mean you should rule it out completely. Like, that's what I'm saying, because we can't capture everything. It's just impossible. Yes, sir?
Clinical trial aside,
Uh-huh.
if a patient has any side effect that they think is coming from medicine, what is the proper approach for that patient to do? What should the patient do next? Go to his doctor and say,
Yeah.
hey, I'm getting ingrown toenails every time.
Right, I'm having these issues, I'm constantly, you need to, and if your physician isn't willing to work on it with you, then you should find a different one. We've been lucky, all the physicians we work with are the type that, I was very specific when I picked them out, because I don't wanna be with physicians who, one, can't even really take care of their patients in their regular practice, because then why would I let them deal with my patients? And that's how I look at them all. So, yeah, you need to go to your physician and say, I'm still having this problem. What are we gonna do about it? And it needs to be a solution that they work with you on.
But I can almost bet you money, the first thing the doctor's gonna say is, it's not related. And there you stand, what are you gonna do?
I'm not finished.
So when I took Gardasil, the vaccine, you guys familiar with Gardasil? So it's a vaccine that's supposed to prevent women from getting HPV. I was given that vaccine when I was 25. Everybody told me how great it was and I needed to have this vaccine. So I get it. Got completely sick. My whole central nervous system just started shutting down. I had all kinds of issues. And the doctor just looked at me and said, you need to just go relax. You need an Ativan, you need to relax. This is not a side effect. And I'm like clearly reading where people are passing out from the shots and having all kinds of conditions. So I went and found a new physician, one that wanted to work with me. But you're right. I mean, some of them are just like, oh, you're fine. You just are overly stressed. But it wasn't. I couldn't even get through a week of work. I was having such bad, like just movement disorders, involuntary movements, and feeling like I couldn't function on a day-to-day basis. So that's when I went and found a new physician, one that wanted to sit down and truly look at it with me. So not every physician's perfect. Not every research company is perfect. You just have to find somebody, I think, that's willing to work with you on things. That's just my personal experience on things. But thanks for your time, everybody. Oh, yes, ma'am.
I have a question about albuterol studies. I'm one of those people that when I take albuterol, my heart races, so the side effect of the heart racing is worse than the
Right.
effect of the albuterol. And so they switched me to Zopanex, and my insurance company won't pay for that. Is there anything else out there?
There is. Have you tried the Pro Air?
Pro Air?
Pro Air, so it's almost the same thing as albuterol, but some patients, when they take the Pro Air, they feel fine. But we have a lot of patients that go through that, especially the children. They feel like they can't breathe when they take albuterol, or the parents complain that they jump off walls. So it's just kind of like a generic, but maybe because of the compounds, you might be a little bit different. Maybe you might notice a difference. There's Pro Air and then there's Ventolin, which is, they're all really albuterol, but sometimes the compounding can make it maybe be a little bit different. I mean, you can try that. If not, then I would do what most of our patients do and ask us for samples of Zopanex.
Okay.
But Zopanex doesn't make your heart feel crazy?
No.
Oh, that's great. Well, at least you found something that helps, but yeah. I think all of the albuterol family, all those medicines,
So
can-
Pro
just some
Air is a
people.
little different than albuterol.
I'm saying it can be based on the compounding, but, so some people take Advair and feel like an elephant's on their chest, but some people take Symbicort and feel like they're fine. So it just, every patient's different. Because some people can take Zopanex and feel like their heart's gonna jump out of their chest, and some people like albuterol. So it's just simply going through your own kind of trials and finding what works. I wish I could say this one medicine's never gonna cause that, but I can't say that. So.
No.
Yes, sir. Could
Any
I-
more questions?
Any more questions before I get to this thing? Yes, ma'am.
Is there an alternative to pregnancy? Is there anything out there?
I wish.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
When I take it, I can't sleep. I feel like a crazy person. My boyfriend says I become mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's my eyes, and,
How often are you needing to take it?
it's been about twice a year, but I'm unable to tolerate it, and the doctor just says, well, take as much as you can.
Right.
Which doesn't really help me, because the reaction doesn't come till the next day, and then I'm like this burning inflame.
Are you coming next month to the meeting?
Yeah.
Because I can talk with Dr. Call, because I'm not the one to ask. I know he gives other things, and see kind of what he does when patients go through that, because you probably have an allergen to prednisone. So that's where I like him being an allergist, because he looks at other things.
So it's obvious it's,
And you
Right.
get all these little red spots.
Yeah. I don't like that stuff. Every time I get poison ivy, they try to give it to me and I run. I'm like, no. Well, I can ask Dr. Collins and see what he says. Yeah, my boyfriend says it makes me a bipolar girlfriend. He doesn't like it. He's like, you're very bossy when you're on that
well,
person.
that's what people feel like they're going crazy.
Well, thank you once again for your time. And I'll be here next month, so if you guys have any more questions.